to the former governor of Ekiti State, Ayo Fayose, who has expressed concerns over Thursday's Supreme Court judgment affirming local government's right to receive monthly allocations directly from the Federation account. The chieftain of the People's Democratic Party emphasized that despite the court judgment, state houses of assembly and the governors will always be a clog in the wheel of local government autonomy. Fayose said this when he featured as a guest in an interview, while stressing that nobody from the grassroots can emerge as a local government chairman without the support of a governor. The Ekiti politician said that both the court and the federal government cannot take the baby from the mother.
Wow.
I mean, there is now a baby and there is now a mother.
A mother, yes.
It is no longer 3 tiers of government that are independent.
It's baby and mother.
It's now a baby and mother.
Baby and mother, yes.
And none, the other cannot ascend without the other.
Exactly.
The one cannot ascend
without
the mother.
Yes.
What's your take?
Well,
what's your take?
Well, if you ask me,
Ayo Fayose,
I will say that you know, the former governor of Ekiti State is just telling us the reality.
Okay.
You know now the Supreme Court, you know, let us know what the ideal situation should be.
Okay.
You know, or point out what the reality should rather be. But as it is in our political landscape in Nigeria, you know, local government and state government is just a mother and baby relationship. Now, like I said earlier, you know, leadership in Nigeria is an integration from the micro level to the macro level, from the grassroots, you know, to the federal government. Now, having said that, you will see that now the governor of a state, you know, the powers the governor of the state has, both as a public office holder, then as his personality as a human being, before he will get to that position, you know, is enormous. To the point that every other person under him or her, in the case of having female governor in Nigeria, which we almost had in Nasarawa State, in Adamawa, you know, every other person under him bow to their whims and caprices. So, you know, now you are talking about local government autonomy when we have not addressed the way politics is played in Nigeria. If you have not addressed that, you know, you are just it's just an academic exercise. What we are going to see is a situation where, you know, the local government chairman, when they eventually emerge, will be playing to the dictates of their respective state governors. In the first place, who is the body that is going to conduct local government elections? Who is going to appoint the person that is going to conduct local government election? Funny enough, we have seen across the country during general election where, you know, even when INEC being a body instituted by the federal government, bringing their officers to states, and, you know, they are more or less kidnapped by the state executives, you know. Yeah. And then you see a situation where whatever the state executive wants, per se, is what the INEC will do. Then we are not talking about the residents, we are not talking about the State Electoral Commission here. That as it is currently constituted today, if that body is appointed by the governor, the head, the chairman is appointed by the governor, then we now have a multi-party system where if Mr. A says no, Mr. B will take advantage and tell you yes, such that a governor can be in a PDP, for instance, and then he decide to support a candidate that says yes to him in Labour Party. Because until the governor is not, the state executive is not in position to, one, appoint who conduct local government election, two, does not have influence as far as sponsorship of the various candidates are concerned, until that situation is addressed, we are still going to have a situation where you will bow before the dictate of the governor
But we have
before you emerge
we have a similar
as a
situation.
local government chairman.
I know
and you will continue to do his biddings.
But we do have a similar situation, although there has not been much bowing involved in it. The umpire of the National Electoral Commission of INEC is being appointed by the president. But the president does not have as much as overbearing power over the state governors per se. Why is it then that the state governors have so much overbearing powers over the local government chairman, and they still appoint, when they still appoint the CX, the state independent, if they are independent though, I still question that word, the state electoral commissions. So why the disparity on the balance of powers with that of the governors with that of the president?
The reason is very simple.
Okay.
If I'm come to your house, you welcome me. So your welcoming me to your house many times does not have little or nothing to do with whoever that sent me to your house. So when whoever that has been appointed to command the electoral processes in the state at the federal level, when you come to the state, you know, you will go to see the governor. And then you also look at politics of stomach infrastructure, as is currently being played in Nigeria for God knows how long. So whoever that is appointed to come and do one thing or the other in the state, whether politics, election or what have you, conducting election or what have you, you know, you must be with the governor on the same table, and the wine and the peanut will be offered to you. Yeah. And because of the politics of stomach infrastructure, you are likely going to say yes and no. So from there, then it becomes a bedroom affair between the state executive and whoever that is sent from the federal. Okay. You know, and then the presidents as it were, and those at the federal level, you know, they are so occupied for them to leave how many ministries, how many parastatals, how many government agencies, how many external relations, and start putting an eye on the person they sent to a particular state. Then don't also forget that the loss of government appointees at the federal level are sent by the state governors. They are the ones that recommend a very large percentage of those that are appointed at the federal level.
Very true.
So what is there? What are we saying? As much as the president have all his powers, he's also a loyalist rather, to the governors.
So the governors are the true
The governor
emperors.
can even call the president and said, send so person to me, or whoever that is working, representing the president to send whoever to the states. He can easily call them and say, send so person to my state. That is the person I want and it to be done. So as long as the way politics is played, the way politics is constituted in Nigeria is not addressed, we will continue to find ourselves in a lacuna where the position of Mr. Fayose, the former Ekiti State governor, his position will continue to be the reality where the local government chairmen are nothing but babies that are sucking from the governors as their mothers.
Oh, man. Oh, that's a very, very grim but true representation of facts.
Of the reality, as a matter of fact.
Yes. That is it. That is it. And it's only on ATM Politics that you can have the opportunity of having this analysis. And we plead on you to always tune in at 4 p.m. every weekdays to get the best of political analysis as it concerns politics of Nigeria. Moving to former Director General of the Obi Dati Presidential Campaign Organization in the 2023 presidential election, Doyin Okupe. He has reacted to a barrage of criticisms trailing his open support for President Bola Tinubu's administration. Okupe had, in an interview, said that he knew that Tinubu was the better candidate despite his association with the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi before the elections. However, the turnaround led to many Nigerians labeling him a traitor. But in a post on X on Monday, Okupe came out to clarify his stance, saying, in a game of politics, there are no permanent friends or enemies, but only permanent interests. Let me hold it there. Is he right concerning the fact that he worked assiduously with Peter Obi and Dati as a staunch supporter and an administrator of their campaigns and the hopes that they had to occupy the #1 seat in Nigeria? And he is saying here that all the while I knew that Tinubu had capacity. I know Atiku Abubakar, I know Peter Obi, but I still knew that Tinubu has more capacity. And when the backlash came out, he said, no, that you are getting these things wrong. That in politics, there are no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, but permanent interests. And I know that many obedience, per se, will take offense to this stance. But is he wrong?
Well, first and foremost, many obedience will take exception to his stance. Yes, if you look at, across the country, the obedience have been so, let me say, the main obedience. Because you can see what is happening. We can, all this while, before he came out to start saying all these things we are hearing now, every person referred to him as an obedient. So that's why we say the real obedience will take serious exception. In fact, they are burning in their hearts. In fact, if they see Okupe, I'm sorry to use the word, maybe they will just look for 1 liter of fuel that is costing close to 1,000 naira now, just pour it over and set him on fire. Now, going to the core issue, as far Doyin Okupe is concerned, now, leaning towards a total support for the president, Bola Tinubu. Now, one can ask himself, given how what played out during the campaign, as far as his own involvement is concerned, is he just waking up? Is it that he was dreaming all this while, saying that from the onset, that Bola Tinubu is the best among the bunch? Now, let's assume, is it that he was dreaming at the time? Then he's just waking up. Or we should start questioning, it's now a question of morality. Where you know that A is black, you call it white. You know that B is white, you call it black. For whatever reason, I don't understand. Now you are coming out to tell us that all this while, you know that Bola Tinubu is the #1 person among all the candidates and all the rest of them. And you are come to tell us, you are come to tell the obedience today. And for all you care, any person any person that decides to have a different opinion should shut up. Nobody should disturb your peace. This is where you stand now. I think that is a question of morality. That Doyin Okupe need to come out to tell Nigerians, that, come on, you don't do this, you don't do it. The election is just yesterday. Then we are talking about the obedience as it were, are talking about consolidation towards 2027. And here you are, every day, the tree is being pruned down. Some of our politicians and our public figures should learn to cover their faces in shame. That is a message I have for Doyin Okupe as it is today, for whatever he has expressed. That, I'm not saying that it's not right. That's what I'm saying. We are talking about the question of morality.
Yeah.
We are talking about the question of morality. Because his involvement in the past general election is well documented. Why should you come now and start telling us the least expected of you as a human being with conscience, as a human being at your level that is expected to have moral values, for you to come and tell us that, you know all this while? So are you not trying to tell us that we are trying to deceive us? Or you are just playing to the gallery? That you come out now to tell us that all along, you know that it is this man. Okay, on what basis on what ground on what moral ground were you supporting Peter Obi, the candidate of the Labour Party, and the face of the obedient movement? So to me, what he's doing right now, as far as the sane human out there is concerned, does not add up.
Oh, but let us look at a juxtaposition with what's happening in River State. As at now, there are two camps in the PDP. And you hear a lot of people saying Vanguard, simplified, and all that. And just that is how some of the Doyin Okupes were simplifying. They are simplifying now.
For the obedient and for the Obi.
Yes, and before you know, there will be a time too that, you know, the clock...
Yes, likely to be a time.
The clock
will change.
Also change.
Okay.
And you now see them say, all the while I knew that it was Wike, but I just wanted to... So is it wrong to have subservient and also moles, spies? Are they not part of the political system?
Okay.
In any politics?
Well, you know, the case of River State is a peculiar one. And at the same time, when you look at the impact on the life of the ordinary citizen in River State, it's also unfortunate. Now, people shouting theme movement, theme Vanguard today, turning up tomorrow. Of course, every sane person who knows how politics play in Nigeria should expect that. Theme himself should not be disappointed when the same people that are blowing trumpet for him, his full soldiers, when they will turn against him, he should not be surprised. And I will advise him, you know, to tread carefully, you know, when it comes to the possibility of having moles in his camp who are shouting his name today, you know. And then we also have a situation where, you know, people will play drum for him, and then he dances his way to his grave, his political grave. So the governor of the state, as River State, you know, he need to watch it. Otherwise, the same story that we are hearing from Doyin Okupe, we are going to hear similar story from those who are playing the drum for him to dance, as it is currently in River State.
So is it that in politics is not just for the Christians, it's also for men of all faiths, even for those of no faith. So is being subservient, is being a mole, not part of a political process. Are they wrong in doing what they are doing? It is to the achievement of their goals. What do you think?
As it is generally postulated or generally affirmed, you know, there's no, politics is about interest, and on that ground, there's no permanent friend or permanent enemy. Now, if that is okay, as far as society is concerned, then you cannot say they are wrong. You cannot say that. Because, for instance, if there's a particular thing that draws attention of, you know, a political player to another political player, or to a follower to a leader, as it were in politics, and then that particular interest that took you there, you know, that makes you to say, okay, I'm pitching my tent, I'm pledging my loyalty to this particular leader. That thing is no longer there. What do you think will happen? Of course, there will be a reversal of loyalty. Then, in terms of one being a mole, of course, it's also a political reality, you know, that I come to pledge loyalty to you. Meanwhile, I'm a spy. I'm a mole in your camp. Then, of course, post-relationship, that is after it is done, whatever thing that has been the secret, binding us together, or giving you the bone and muscles to move forward in your own camp, I can always divulge it to the next person, you know. And that is what is happening right now. Now I can see how Doyin Okupe has attempted, or has succeeded even, to reduce the political value of Peter Obi, the face of the obedient movement. You know, that the president of this country, Peter Obi, contested against, that a lot of ordinary citizens queued behind him and said, you are the one we want. Doyin Okupe is telling us today that the president today is better than Peter Obi. It's a big blow. It's a big political blow to the fortune of Peter Obi, to the political fortune of Peter Obi, as far as I'm concerned. So, Doyin Okupe, if he's there listening to me, can be referred to as a mole in the camp of Peter Obi. Thank you.
Whoa, the presence of moles and the lack of shame and embarrassment on the faces of political players in our polity. We have been discussing with Ogenekere Vincent Okoro. I wish we could add more time to what we have now, but time is not always in our favor. But we will plead on him that same time next week. We should have him here on stage again to teach, educate, and also enlighten us more on the political terrains and happenings in our dear country, Nigeria. And this is where we wrap it up on this episode